All right, what's up, guys? So I haven't really planned this. So what the fuck's up with my hair? Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm not here to talk about my hair. I'm here to talk about. Can he can hear me? Can you not hear me? Why can you not hear me? What's up? Can he? Somebody says you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Can you look at SRM chart, please? All right. So just before we go and look at the actual the charts, we are charts. Shots. I'm never gonna learn to. What's the blue light in your room? That's the blue light in my room. That's a blue light in my room. Gonna show you. I have this. I'll show you guys my setup. Like, just gonna clean it up. There's a lot of shit all over the place. So I'll show you my blue light. So here's my screens, right? So here I am. You got the microphone, and I have the right screen. I got Twitter, and then my main shot screen. That's the one you're seeing on the screen. And then to the left, I have Discord, right? And above, I have a screen where I have like the stream setup. And here's got lights, because it's a studio. Then I have the blue one right here. And then the best part, I have a plant. I got a plant in the background, which is dying. And funnily enough, it started dying when Bitcoin were kind of breaking the 4-hour uptrend. So I'm probably gonna start buying more plants like that one, and might start using it some type of trend indicator. I'm not a musician. I like music, but I'm terrible at playing music, and I'm the worst singer in the world. Like, I'm really, really bad at. My headset is doo-doo. Who the fuck are you? I got this headset when I was like 15. It says CSGO. It's pretty fucking badass. Maybe he's referring to somebody else. I don't know. Who cares? No, the acoustic. I almost said autistic. The autistic panels is because to reduce the echo, because I'm in the basement and it's like concrete walls. All right, just play. If you can't, got some people having trouble. Yeah, never mind. All right, so he can't join the stream, but you guys can. So let's do this. So we're looking at Bitcoin here, and let's see if we can open up the Bitcoin report. So this is what I like about TradingView, the premium TradingView subscription. You can have unlimited amount of. Do you give your opinions of future trading, or is not in your interest? Do you mean trading on futures? Yes, I do trade on futures. Like I trade on perpetual futures contracts to trade on leverage, but I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. Anyway, I like the fact that you can have a limited amount of chart layouts right here. So what I do is I've started actually saving the Bitcoin reports. So the Bitcoin reports that I do every Thursday in the Birb Nest, I have BTC report. You can see here that the recent Bitcoin report I have on the daily and the 4-hour and the weekly. So we're going to look at the daily here on the Bitcoin report. We're going to open up that chart. This was the daily Bitcoin report, and as you can see here, I did write this report in the beginning of the day, which is morning usually, and not much has changed here on the daily time frame, right? We're just slightly below where we were when I wrote the report, and looking at the bigger scale here, it's just such a small move what we're seeing right now, and it's not like I'm expecting a move down to the weekly 20 EMA here at 52K. It's not that I'm expecting a move like that. I'm just thinking that if we do get a move like that, it should be a very good buying opportunity, right? So I think one very important question here is a lot of people I can answer questions regarding futures trading. Sure. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's futures or spots. It's the same charts, right? It's basically the same price action. Anyway, so we're getting a lot of questions on, what should I do now? Like, what should I do now? I'm in this position and that position, and I'm not sure what to do. Should I sell? Should I buy more? Or, questions like that. And obviously, the fact that you are asking those questions means that you haven't planned for this, right? Which is in of its own a failure, right? Because you always need to plan different scenarios when you've, when you're going to enter a trade, right? So you always have to plan for what to do when you're going long, for example, right? So you want to plan for targets to the upside, which is obviously take profit targets, right? And you need to plan for potential invalidation levels of your idea. So the fact that you're asking me questions like that probably means that you don't really have any invalidation areas for your position, right? Personally, my invalidation area for my Bitcoin spot holdings. So remember, I started accumulating this bag right here at around these levels right here after selling on the big run up, selling when we lost the daily 50 EMA here, started accumulating right here. So my average entry, I'm not really sure where my average entry is, but last time I calculated, I had around 58 or 48 or something like that, somewhere in this area. So I'm okay with this drop down here because that would still mean I'm back to break even. And yes, I've taken some profits up in this area, right? But I will add everything that I've taken profits up here. I will add that back down here, and I will buy more because I do expect that Bitcoin will bounce here. And if it doesn't bounce here, that's going to invalidate my whole idea. The whole idea of Bitcoin continuing this bull run for a prolonged cycle kind of invalidates here. I would like to see the 52K area being the bottom for the next leg up, right? So should you sell Bitcoin here? I'm not selling. All right, I'm not selling here, and I'm not selling to buy back lower. It's a 10 to 15% drop to the downside. I'm not going to sell Bitcoin to buy it back cheaper. I'm going to buy way more Bitcoin when it's cheaper, but I'm not going to sell what I have already. So let's say you have a position on Litecoin or whatever. Like, it seems everyone has a position on Litecoin, right? So let's look at Litecoin. This is Litecoin right here, and you know what? Let's start with a completely clean shot here. So we're going to remove those drawings right here, and we'll look at the daily. So this is the daily on FTX. Doesn't have too much history. So let's look at LTC USD on Bitstamp, where we have obviously much more. This is interesting. I haven't seen. I haven't opened this shot since December 20, like December last year, and I wish I did open it sooner because that was a pretty good move. Anyway, let's remove the drawings from this one, and we'll start looking at what's this telling us, right? So what is this telling us right here? Well, it's telling us that we probably bounced inside the RLC. Well, kinda. Not even sure if that's correctly drawn. You know what? I don't think that makes sense. So let's focus on the more recent price action right here. Well, you can clearly see here on the daily, you have a very. Let's look at the weekly. I mean, there's something going on right here, right? There's something going on here. It's not obvious on the weekly, but it's pretty obvious on the daily. So if you start adding some levels here, you will see that you have one right here. You have another support down in this area right here. And honestly, I think that those two levels, combining those levels, it's just very clear here that you have a good high time frame horizontal level. So you go to the line chart and you see here that, yeah, it's definitely interacting nicely with this level on the line chart as well. And then you go back to candles and you see the interesting part here about the line chart and the candlestick chart is you're not supposed to like, one is not better than the other. You're supposed to look at both and kind of find an equilibrium, right? And if you see this right here, now if you go to the line chart, you will see that the line chart is ending right here. And there's obviously a reason for that, right? And that is because the line chart is only take into account the candle closes and not the wicks, and that is why the line chart is so much cleaner, because there's no wicks, right? There's no wicks, there's only candle closes, which means you remove all the noise, and that is why it's very interesting to go back in a line chart from time to time to do your analysis, right? So should you sell Litecoin here? Well, looking at this chart, I'm pretty sure, or looking at this level, I'm pretty sure you can agree with me that might be a pretty goddamn stupid idea to sell Litecoin at probably the strongest support right now, right? Pretty sure most of you can agree with that. And if you view this as the low and this the high of that breakout move, right, which kind of makes sense. I mean, either you use that low and that high, or you're going to use that low. That's on the 4 hour. But taking into consideration, and like I've talked about in my webinars, you always have to take into consideration the market structure and the horizontal level. So I'd like to use that low. Now, if you put on the reload zone from that low to this high, well, you see that Litecoin is right now trading perfectly on the midpoint of the reload zone, which is the 702. So should you be selling Litecoin here? We add the 50 EMA in the daily, and it's right there. It's testing the daily 50 EMA perfectly. And whenever it has touched that one, you had a great bounce. The daily stochastics way in the oversold territory, which doesn't really mean much. Can stay there for quite some time. What means more is we get a bull cross or not. So again, I don't think it's a good idea to sell Litecoin here. I do think it's actually a good idea to maybe perhaps buy some Litecoin here. Yes, if Bitcoin drops to 52K, Litecoin will keep dropping, right? But if you accumulate Litecoin and start accumulating here, you're most likely going to have a pretty decent entry. Now, let's use the same high, but the low all the way down here to see the very low reload zone of this whole move right here, and you'll see that this kind of makes more sense, right? It makes even more sense because now you have the 0.618 in perfect confluence with the midpoint of that horizontal level and the trend line. So what you could get here is you could get definitely look at the perfect retest here. Look at the perfect retest of the 0.618 right there. Now what you could see right here is a move like this, right? And that would be like the perfect rounded bottom and the perfect buying opportunity for Litecoin. And that might actually come if Bitcoin breaks down. So let's try to predict how much Litecoin is going to fall when Bitcoin does, right? So what we have to do now is we look at the recent drops on Bitcoin and we look at how that influenced Litecoin and how many percentage Litecoin dropped versus how many percentage Bitcoin drops. So kind of see like if Bitcoin drops here, what will happen with Litecoin. So the last drop on Bitcoin, we look at the 4 hour because we want that big drop, which is going to be this one right here. So on the 15th of October, Bitcoin dropped approximately 10%. 15 October. Did I say October? November, obviously. Did I say November? I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. So 15 November right here. So it's going to be the 15th to the 17th. To the 17th, which is let's take that low, right? Now that's quite a big drop, right? That's quite a big drop on Litecoin, but we can't ignore the fact that this dropped through nothing, right? It basically had no high time frame support, right? But now if we get another drop, we will so now when we're going to drop the next time, we're going to be dropping through support. So instead of having a 20% drop, that might be suppressed a little bit, right? So let's see. So a 10% drop on Bitcoin caused a 20% drop on Litecoin. What's the next level below? So the next possible drop would be a 10% drop for Bitcoin, which then, if is copying it exactly as before, you would have a new 20% drop to the downside, which would be down here. But now, given the fact that you're dropping straight through basically very weak support here, and here you're going to be dropping through very strong support, you should probably take into consideration that and lower it to perhaps 15, right? And if 15% drop here is still inside the reload zone, and what if we add the weekly 20 EMA? Will we see any confluence here? And we do, right? We do see the weekly 20 EMA for Litecoin being right here. So there's a lot of strong confluence in this area for Litecoin. So I do think that if Bitcoin drops 10% more, which is down to 52K, Litecoin could definitely drop 15%, even 20%. But I would then like to see a strong wick to kind of close above the 0.702 again. So that's what I think is likely to happen with Litecoin if Bitcoin continues to drop. If Bitcoin finds support here, perfect buying opportunity for Litecoin. I'm not opening a trade on Litecoin here, obviously. I would have to wait for Bitcoin to kind of start. I would have to wait for Bitcoin to kind of start reclaiming the daily 50 EMA and stop moving like this, and then have that breakout, something like that. That would kind of confirm the bottom for for Bitcoin. For me, that I would then take a bet on Bitcoin, setting its bottom here, and I would then start accumulating my spot holdings again. Maybe perhaps 50. I would probably accumulate 50% of what I would have accumulated here, and then wait for another major drop for rest of the position. So yeah, it's really hard to yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say here is, if you're in a leverage long on Litecoin, you might have some trouble, because a 15% drop to the downside is not unlikely. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not unlikely. So if you're gonna get liquidated if that happens, yeah, maybe tighten up your stop loss and that kind of stuff. But my main point here is, my main point here is, if you bought Litecoin here, you're doing it all wrong. You're not supposed to be buying something that's been pumping like this when you have such an obvious level right here. Now we're getting the retest. This is where you should be buying, right? So if you're doing it all wrong, and if you're buying up here, you're doing it all wrong. You need to be patient. You need to be patient, because I can, I'm going to repeat this for as many times as possible. So I'm a break and retest trader. I do not trade breakouts. I do not chase pumps. I wait for everything to kind of calm down, retest the breakout level, and calmly bounce, right? That means I'm going to miss out on a lot of opportunities, but you stay patient. You stay patient. And sometimes it takes weeks for something to come down to the breakout levels. In crypto, it usually takes days, but it could take up to weeks, and you have to wait. You have to sit on your hands, and you have to wait. I know that Adrian Birb has been very actively posting bullish posts about Litecoin, and I know a lot of people in our community are bullish on Litecoin because of that. But it's not like he's telling you to go long on Litecoin. Like, he's been talking about Litecoin for months, like way before it broke out, and all of a sudden it breaks out and everybody starts buying. And you see the psychology here. People do not want to buy unless there's a lot of bullish price action. When stuff goes up and it just continues to go up, people stop buying because they think there's no limit to the upside potential. While professional traders like me, I guess you say, I know that the chances that the breakout level will be hit is very, very high. And even if it's not very high, I know that if it comes, the chances are, and the probability that the first retest of the breakout level will be a bounce is very high. Now, I might miss out on a pump that just continues, but if you go through all the markets in crypto and you backtest this, you will see that most of the time levels will get retested. And even if they don't, there will always be a coin out there that will will give you a break and retest. So the lesson here is, sorry. The lesson here is, be patient, sit on your hands, and like, and make plans. It's very, very important to make plans, guys. It's very, very important you make plans. So, for example, yeah, it's like you have to really think hard about your trading process, and your idea of why you want to just getting a lot of weird DMs. So why do you want to take the trade? Write down why do you want to take the trade? What's your plan? What's your target? What's your stop loss? What's your invalidation level? And with an invalidation level, that basically means, for me, that means where's the break in market structure. So what level needs to be broken for market structure to be confirmedly bearish, or stuff like that. So very important to have a plan like that, because if you have a plan like that, you will never really have to ask me about advice on your positions, and I would love to help you out, right? But the best way for me to help you guys is to give you the tools necessary to build your own profitable trading system. And then the question then becomes not, should I be selling Litecoin here? The question then becomes, should I move my stops to entry after taking TP1? Stuff like that, right? Should I now exit at entry after this break in market structure? You know what I mean? And I will ask you, what's your plan? And you will then pull up your plan and you will say, well, this is what I wrote in my journal, right? And if I can start helping you guys through that, just like I do with my private students, you're gonna have get a much better answer, basically, right? Of course, I'm going to help you whatever question you have, but just understand that I can tell you should sell Litecoin here or buy Litecoin here, but without the detail of the plan, it's not really going to help you much. All right, we got KMD versus BTC. Why BTC, if I might ask? Yeah. So what exactly? So what I want to say here is no. This looks crazy. Been a very long time since I looked at altcoins versus Bitcoin, but holy shit, look at this chart right here. You want to stay as far away as this from this as possible. This is insane. I remember these pumps in 17. One of the craziest time in my life. Look at KMD here. In 2 weeks, it pumped 577% in 2 weeks. Just like that. Everything pumped like that. Insane. Crazy. This was the time when you woke up in the middle of the night and you were holding your phone with Blockfolio open, and the first thing you did was did this, right, to update, and you started sweating, and you had to double check because you thought there might be some bug with the software being up, like your whole portfolio being up like 300% from like 30 minutes ago when you were waking up the last time. That was such a crazy time. And then this happened, which was like you go from euphoria to depression in a matter of like a couple of weeks. Man, that was some of the most insane times. So yeah, stay away from this. Stay away from this. Yeah. I mean, sure. If you start seeing something like this, yeah, maybe, but I mean, no. This is a good question, right? So why did you stop trading breakouts? I think it's not a matter of why I stopped trading breakouts. It's a matter of why I never really traded breakouts. So I just found it. So I have, like, when I'm back testing, obviously. So what I did was I back tested, right, and I thought, so I'm gonna back test the same idea that I have, similar idea that I have, but I'm gonna back test a breakout trading system. And sure, it worked, right, but it didn't really fit my personality. So when trading breakouts and when back testing a breakout system, I've noticed that I had to, like, you have a resistance level right here, and then you have price hitting that resistance, hitting that resistance, and you have a breakout, right? So I bought that breakout with a stop maybe here, and then TP1 here. It hit TP1, and as soon as the breakout kind of continued, I moved my stop to entry, right? But I found that a lot of times, most of the time, it's going to be a fake out. So I started waiting for a 4-hour open and close above before buying. And that gave me a pretty bad risk to reward. And the win rate was just quite low for me. But the risk to reward on some of the trades could be very, very high, because if the breakout just continues, you start trailing your stop up, and a trade, it would be a very high R trade. So some of the trades were very good because you could let them run and could be like a massive breakout, but it never really made sense to me. So through the backtesting phase, I didn't really feel like this was a system that I liked trading. And then I started retesting the system I'm trading today based on the break and retest theory. And it just made more sense because, like, if you take the breakout as an example, right? So what you had to do is, like, you had an alert. You're sitting here and you're seeing a breakout and you have that alert. The alert goes off, and that's an alert to buy, right? I never had like buy orders above here, so it's going to get triggered if it breaks out. I always had alerts so that I had to check price to make sure that everything was in order before I bought. So I had to buy immediately, right? I had to buy immediately when everything looked good, right? But with the break and retest, what I could do is the alert goes off, right? And I see that alert and I know that, all right, so the alert goes off. This is a breakout. I know I had to wait at least 4 hours from now for the candle to close above. Because I want a 4-hour open and close. And then I need to wait maybe 8 more hours to have a 4-hour rounded retest. So I know that this trade is not going to be a trade that I'm most likely going to take today. I'm most likely going to take it tomorrow, right? So I'm going to take it tomorrow, which means I have a lot of time to adjust and prepare for that trade. So tomorrow comes, I'll look at this trade and maybe price is reaching down to breakout level. Now this is a time when I'm going to be alerted, right? So I have an alert down here, price comes down, and then I look for my entry trigger, right? Which and this is just much more stressless way of trading. Stressless? Wow. Stress-free way of trading. And so it's much easier for me, and it fits my personality way more. Maybe I'm slow and I like moving slow. I don't know, but it just fits my personality very nicely. You can look at an example here on CHFJPY, right? So this is an example on CHFJPY, right? So I looked at a breakout of this level right here, right? So I had an alert right here, and that alert went off on the 13th of October, right? Now the retest is happening over a month later. Over a month later, this retest is happening. So I've been waiting 1 month for this trade to activate the entry trigger, right? So price comes down, it hits that level almost perfectly, confluent with that daily 50 EMA right there, and I would like to buy this. I know I would like to buy this, right? So I go down to the 4-hour and I start looking for a break-in market structure, and that break-in market structure would look like this. So this is now the trade I'm looking to take on CHF JPY, where I have a break in market structure and a reclaim of that level. So you combine the break and retest on a daily and the break and retest and a break in market structure a little bit higher, and this would then be the trade that I'm looking to take. So what I have now is I have another alert right here, which will alert me when I have a breakout on this. And what I then want to do at that time is I would love to see price come up and perhaps test this area right here, right? So I would love for price to come up and test this level right here, right? So that if I get this, I then have the reload zone down here, right? Confident with the breakout level, and that's where I want to be buying. And you see the daily 50 EMA right here? It will most likely be, let's see, it will most likely be up in this area when we have the break and retest. So I'm waiting for a wick down to test the daily 50 EMA, and then a low time frame break and retest, right? So it takes a lot of time, and it takes a long time for some of my setups to form. But then again, the win rate is on these setups about 60%, right? So a 60% win rate, it's definitely worth to wait a month or two for a setup where you have a possible 60% win rate, right? And if you have, the average R on this trade would probably be, let's put that on. So the average R on this trade, because I would then take TP1, TP1, TP2, and TP3. So the average R on this trade would be 3. Now you do the calculation on that. If your average R on your trades is 3 and you have an average win rate of 60, that's quite profitable, right? So it's worth waiting for the good setups, right? So that's a very, very, very long answer to why I don't trade breakouts. Then if you trade a falling wedge, for example, where would you enter the trade if there is no retest? It's just no, exactly. It's first of all, I don't trade falling wedges. I only trade, I add horizontal levels and I add trend lines, and sometimes those trend lines form different patterns, but I don't really care about that. I don't care about the patterns that my trend lines form. All I care about is there a break and retest of the trend line conflict with the horizontal level? You could call it the donkey, triangle, moon, whatever. I don't really care about the name of the pattern, but if there's a break and retest of a trend line conflict with a horizontal support level in accordance to the trend, I will take that trade. If there's no retest, there's no trade. And this is why I use alerts. Like there's no way I would sit around and like, oh, it's 1 month from when I saw that setup, so I'm gonna look at that one. It's like who does that? Nobody does that. You're gonna be using alerts, right? You know? Of course you would use alerts. I mean, what else? It's like you're gonna have a list, pen and paper, like CHF JPY. Remember this in maybe 1 month. I'm just fucking with you. You know that. So you risk more on swing compared to scalp. No, I risk 1%. And yeah, you know what? I've started thinking about that. I kind of started thinking about the fact that I kind of need to change that, because I'm actually taking fewer and fewer trades on my swing portfolio. And this is pretty cool. I'm getting the same percentage per month in profit, but I'm taking way fewer trades. And why is that a good thing? Well, it's a good thing because it means that my trades are on average more profitable per trade, because I need to take less trades and make the same amount of money. But I also take trades which I have to wait longer for confirmation, and being in the trade means I have to stay in the trade for longer. So I should probably start increasing my risk from 1 to 2 on my swing trades, because otherwise, if otherwise it's like, imagine taking 4 trades a month and you risk 1%. That's 4%. But if you risk 2%, that's 8%. I'm good with 8%. 4%, that's a little low. That's a little bit low. And if you up your risk to 2% and you take 4%, if you up your risk to 2% and you take 4 trades a month on a swing trading system like this, it's not like, and I don't do that. I'll take like 20 or 30 trades a month. But lately, like this month, I've only taken 10 trades on my swing trading portfolio. Last month I took 30, so there's a huge difference. But I'm with the same profitability, which says a lot about the importance of being patient and waiting for the right setup. Because trade less, you need to work less. It's just pretty good deal. Would you say forex trading is just as interesting as crypto? Right. So I started with crypto, right? I started getting interested in crypto and blockchain in 2017. And back at those days, I'm like, I kind of looked up to the legacy traders as a whole nother level, like a whole nother level. That was just a whole nother world. The forex trader, that was like badass. They are like super professional. They know exactly what they're doing. It's much, much harder to trade forex, I thought, than crypto. And crypto is like for new traders. That's where it's much easier, stuff like that. But then I actually, like 2 years ago, I started trading forex, and I'm like, this is actually much simpler because you don't have to care about Bitcoin. If you're trading the CHF JPY pair, for example, all I really do is I see if there's any major news event for the CHF or the JPY. If there's no major news event, I'll just trade that, freely. But in the crypto market, it's like every altcoin is connected to every other altcoin, and every altcoin is connected to Bitcoin. So whatever Bitcoin does, altcoin will follow. And whatever that altcoin does that you're in, it's because Bitcoin did something. And you have the BTC dominance chart. You have to kind of look at that one. You have all the on-chain metrics. You have it's a whole nother world. You know what I mean? It's like you have the staking, farming, that kind of stuff in crypto. It's just a whole nother dimension, a whole nother universe. But with forex, and this is what I love about forex, and I think you can't really manipulate the forex market. All right, you would like, the forex market is the biggest market and the most liquid market in the world. All right, it's open 24 hours a day, 5 hours 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's the most liquid market in the world. It requires an insane amount of money to move currency pairs. We're talking about, a lot of money. You would not be able to manipulate the prices of forex like you could perhaps manipulate the prices of Bitcoin. Like FUD doesn't really work in the forex market. Like you could release FUD for Link, right? There might be a major institution wanting to load up on Link, and they have like a media machine, and they run the whole FUD campaign to press down the price of Link. And that would work because if you compare the Link market cap with the forex market on, let's say, one of the biggest, like the most liquid market, which is EURUSD, is that there's no chance in hell you're going to be able to manipulate a market like that. There's obviously going to be stop hunts and stuff like that, but you can take that into consideration, right? You need to take that into consideration with wider stop losses and, waiting for the stop hunt and then entering stuff like that. But I find it much nicer to trade the forex market because I am a 100% technical trader and I'm a short-term trader. Like I don't really care for fundamentals. I don't really care for on-chain analysis that much. Honestly, I just want a pair and I just want to trade it, right? Purely TA. I want to get in and out quickly, and I don't care about anything else. I just care about price. I care about getting in, making profits, getting out as quickly as possible to make money to pay my bills. That's all I care about. And of course, while doing that, I'm holding a good long-term bag of crypto because I believe in the future of crypto. But Forex market is really where I feel at home. And it's funny because I think a lot of people that started with the legacy markets, with stocks and then Forex, they kind of look at crypto in the same way that I looked at Forex when I started with crypto. And it's surprisingly similar. Honestly, all markets are moving in the same manner. You have market structure, price action, they all work in a very similar manner. Doesn't matter if you're trading, trading the Forex market, the stock market, trading indices, or the crypto market, altcoins or Bitcoin. Price action, moves the same. So could be a better arena for an older noob to learn. So like in the Birb Nest, like in the Nest Club, you're gonna learn to trade all markets, right? If you're watching me for long enough, you're gonna be learning to trade all markets. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah, well, all right. So this guy, this dude, like, yeah, well, like, yeah, okay. So I think we have to define what I mean by I have to define what I mean by short-term trader. Obviously, I might not be a short-term trader, but you're in crypto. You have spot holdings, right? And you might be buying an altcoin, you might be buying a position on Bitcoin, and you're thinking, I'm going to be holding this till the end of the bull market, right? I'll hold this to the end of the bull market, and like I love this project, I love Link, blah 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 blah. I think it's the future of finance and stuff like that. I don't like that. I think that's just bullshit, right? What I mean is, I trade based on price. I don't care about anything else. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely there's a lot of shady exchanges out there. There's a lot of shady business in the crypto industry. Absolutely, like you have exchanges running stops on, like sometimes they're actually trading against their own users. It's a very real problem for on some exchanges where they will actually take out the stops of their own users to like use them as liquidity basically for their own trades. So yeah, it's a big problem, but there's obviously ways to combat this, right? You can I don't know, like you use a time stop loss on 3 commas is quite nice because you're going to be able to survive the wicks, and that is exactly what you get, right? You get a high volatility move to the downside, hits the stop loss and then reverses, right? So a time stop loss using 3 commas, you will survive with that. What I like to do is, and look at AVAX, right? So AVAX is a good example of that. I'm not sure if it's bouncing right here, but yeah. So this right here, a trade that I took on AVAX, where I basically went all in on my account because I had a very small amount of money, like Bitcoin down, right? So I didn't have money. Yeah, I had all my money on my Hardwell wallet. So what I did was I took the money I had in my trading account and bought the dip for my long-term holdings. So all I had was like I think $500 in my main portfolio. So I figured, let's just risk everything on this trade. So I entered with 10 times leverage and risk the whole $500, right? And I used a time stop loss, but I got liquidated, right? So I got liquidated here on AVAX, which means the time stop loss is going to work because liquidation obviously takes the whole account, the whole position, right? Now is this a stop hunt? I don't know, but it's unfortunate. But if I had a if I didn't have a 10x trade, this would have been like a five times leverage, right? I would then have exited at entry once again, right? So it gives you some time to exit, right? So that's definitely a good tool to help. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll probably DM Sam on Twitter, ask for my funds back. Right. So it's again, I was planning to do a 20 to 30 minutes update on Bitcoin, and then here we are 15 minutes into this. So I'm going to be keeping it short. Let's look at Bitcoin right here. It's not looking strong, right? It's not looking that strong. I do think that we are heading lower. All right. So next support, where would that be? Where would next support be? All right. So you need to watch my risk management. You need to watch my risk management webinar where I explain the idea with leverage and risk and that kind of stuff. But the simple answer to that is I'm risking 1% on all my trades. It doesn't matter if I'm using 2 times leverage or 100 times leverage. The loss on those trades will always be the same, and that is 1% of my trading capital. So I'm not using leverage to make more money. Because if I'm using leverage to make more money, that just means I'm using leverage to risk more money. And I'm not okay with risking more money than 1% of my trading capital on any given trade. So if I take a trade on spot, so I take one trade on spot, and that spot position is $1,000, right? And then I then decide to take that trade on 10 times leverage. Well, then I have to take a position size that is 10 times smaller, so $100 instead of $1,000, right? So I'm not using leverage to make more money, because that would, if in effect, mean I'm risking more money. I'm using leverage as a risk management tool so that I don't have to have as much money on my account as at any given time. How do you set up a stop loss properly? Do you mean according to setup and TA, or do you mean according to like what to actually do on the exchange, like what's the settings and that kind of stuff? Or do you want me to show you my stop loss placement on my setups? I'm just going to show you the stop loss setup on my like how I got it set up on my setup, because I can't log into an exchange now and show you. So I'll show you a couple of different setups here, right? So this is an old setup on EJLD, right? So as you can see here, what I did here was I waited for that rounded retest, breakout, retest right here, and we had the bounce. We then had another break and retest of that level, which was completed reload zone. And as you can see here, I put my stop loss below that wick, right? Because price shouldn't go lower. And if it does go lower, it would be invalidated, right? So what I did here was when the bounce was confirmed, I put my stop loss below the low of that bounce, right? And if I were to enter here, I would then put my stop loss below this low, because that's the low of the breakout move, right? So entry would then be here, stop loss would then be here, and TP1 would be here. So the idea here is that you want your stop loss to be below the confirmed bounce, or if there's no, like if it's really the first retest and the bounce is confirmed, but it's the only retest, you usually want your stop loss to be below the last swing low prior to the breakout. This is the last swing low prior to the breakout. So key here is stop loss should be placed below the last swing low prior to the breakout, and you're buying the retest off that breakout, right? Let's look at another one. Look at Euro GBP, right? So this is a short setup that I took on Euro GBP, where, as you can see right here, you have the entry being right here after that 4-hour bearish engulfing, and then stop loss was placed well above the 0.382 right here. So well above these wicks to kind of give it some room if there's a wick up, right? I take profits, and I take 25% profit at 0% fib, 25% profit at the -236, and then 50% profit at the -618. That's my TP strategy. Now let's look at another one. Here is Euro GBP, another trade, a long setup, right? And this is, see right here, you have a, I do short every day, all the time. I just don't short crypto, not Bitcoin. But I'm mostly long actually in forex market as well. I'm mostly long. My win rate is much higher on longs. I think because I started in the, I don't know, because I actually started trading in the bear market of 18. So I don't know, like the crypto bear market of 18 was when I really started to learn TA. So I should be better with shorts, but I'm just way better with longs. Anyway, here's the entry, because we had, I don't know why I entered there. It's not really perfect, but we got these stochastic bull cross below 30, bullish candle entered here, and then we have that secondary bounce inside the long RC. And you can see here, stop loss below the swing low of the bottom that I'm buying, and then of course below the reload zone. And if you want your stop loss to be here, then increase it, double it, not double, but increase it, right? You need to add, you need to put it lower than you think you should put it. Let's look at another one. Okay, we got Euro GBP. No, Euro JPY. As you can see here, got downtrend, break in market structure, bounce here around the 50% fib. It's a pretty nice area right here. And then you have a 4-hour stochastic bull cross with a 4-hour bullish engulfing, entering on that one, and then putting stops below the 50. So not exactly below this wicks, but a little bit lower. I should probably have put it down here, honestly. Look at one more. Right, you got VTI. Yeah, here's a good one as well. So we have a stochastic bull cross below 30, bullish engulfing, right on the reload zone, confident with the weekly open. You put stop loss below that wick. Where do you draw your RLC from? You know what? I'm not going to answer that because I'm going to host a webinar on that next week. So let's do that instead. I'll show you the settings of my fib tool. So this is the standard one, right? So here's all the levels that I use, and when I want so you can just pause the video, whatever, and what I then do is I have different templates, right? So this RLC template will give me only the reload zone, right? Like that. And then I have another template with the reload zone plus the 50, and that's going to give me this, right? And then I have the main trading fib settings, which is the RLC plus the 50 plus TP plus average R, which actually, like, if I take 25 profit here, 25 profit here, and 50, this will always be my average exit price. So it's just good to have that. And then also lately, or today, I've actually added this one, which is not in here, weirdly enough. It should be. Maybe I have to kind of reload this. See if it's back. Yeah, so here it is. So I have the RLC plus 50 plus TP extension. So it's going to be this one, but I've added more TP extensions above for, sometimes on some crypto pairs, the fib is going to be very small, but in relationship to the market structure, you could see that it could have an explosive move to the upside. So I then add these settings right here, which is the minus 1.5, the minus 1.618, and the minus 2.618 and a minus 2.5 for some added TPs. And then if I would, in this case, maybe enter down here, I would then look for like TP1 here, TP1 here, TP2 here, and then TP3 up in this area right here. Why do you have fib levels on RLC? So this is the reload zone. The reload zone is fib levels, right? The reload zone is an area of the fib tool. All right, guys, I'm getting a headache, probably because of Hamza. So I'm gonna get some water and do something else. And yeah, I would like to say thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for joining. And thank you for joining. And I hope you're not, I really do hope you're not, think I'm serious. I'm just a little bit serious, and it's not like I'm very serious. So don't take it personal. Yeah, I'll explain. I'll explain how you're going to use the fib in a webinar next week. All right, guys, take care and see you guys in the next one.